We've never encountered this before. And it's almost like we feel, well, gee, I guess we're gonna have to go down and storm the castle. So if these messages start being ignored, don't be surprised if we start talking about a road trip and literally loading up buses and going down to Springfield. I know that sounds somewhat dramatic, but I think it really warrants it. Yeah, right. You know, the interesting thing about Springfield, I don't know if you've ever traveled down there, to ever see them in action. I've been down there several times over the years, and I've been down there also for hearings to beg for grant money. And, you know, there's lobbyists that go down there. There's specific groups. But what rarely happens down there, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's much rarer than in a municipality. You know, if we have a public hearing, and the residents don't particularly understand what the public hearing is, or a good rumor gets going, are usually very empty council chambers, all of a sudden is very full, and it's very full of usually people that are very angry and upset with us before we've even had a chance to talk with them. People in Springfield don't really feel that kind of heat very often because they don't have a bunch of residents ever show up. Yeah, so I will be in very close contact with you by email of what's going on with the floor and the feedback that we get from Springfield on these issues. But this particularly is a scary one. So.
Linda, can we send a letter as a board?
Absolutely.
I was going to say, can we do a resolution?
Sure.
All right, so I make a motion that we, well, how are we going to do this in order to get the resolution fast enough? Because that would have to be approved.
Have to be a notice.
Have to be on the agenda for the.
Well, let me ask you this, if it doesn't go to the floor, then we've succeeded for now. We don't need a resolution, but do we need a resolution that maybe is really addressing the whole issue of taking funding from municipalities, period?
In that case, let me just make a motion that we, as a board, if you can author a letter and either we sign individually or someone sign for us as the board, that we send a letter to.
Why don't we take the letter that I sent with my signature and attach a cover note to it with all of the whole board's signature and scan that and send it to all of them tomorrow? The clerk's scowling at me.
She's the one who has to track them all down and get it signed.
I can do all the letters.
She has to.
I can do all the letters.
Do we need a motion for that, or just we agree that?
Jim's saying no.
Okay.
If everybody's in agreement, just if you want to sign the letter, sign the letter.
We have to sign it tonight, you're saying?
Yeah, we'll have to sign it tonight.
Okay, so the same letter
Yeah,
and just put all their names on it?
yeah.
Okay.
Cut and paste, Patty, cut and paste. Don't hurt yourself, don't retake.
Or Jim, if our individual signatures aren't going to matter that much, do we just authorize Linda to sign as the president of the board?
Well, that I've already done.
Yeah, sure.
No, I don't mind signing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys can stick around for 10 minutes, I'll just type everybody's.
Yeah.
We'll sign our name.
Well, I have to put your names on the letter.
Well, if you're signing a blank sheet of paper, that, you're right, that won't take long, Gary, but
Well,
then,
that's what they do down in Springfield. They can sign a blank piece of paper.
yeah, but look out what Kathy and I fill in under, above your signature is what you got to worry about.
Last will and testament of.
Jerry, in response to, in response to your question, if we're going to send it as a board, it probably would make good sense to go ahead and adopt that motion that that the board send a letter similar to the one that the mayor sent previously.
So,
Second.
Roll call.
Hold on. Trustees Ternaski.
Aye.
Kreese.
Aye.
Huberstein. Barrett. Daly.
Aye.
And Walkington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Can we maybe, for the next meeting, still do like a resolution just opposing any sort of action that would take away municipal funds from municipalities? Just as a general.
I think we could do that. I think it would be relatively ineffective. I think you're better off attacking specific items that may be, specific pieces of legislation. A more general thing like that is going to not catch much attention from the legislators.
Yeah, and, Chris Gente's, the director of the Lake County Municipal League, is down in Springfield this week. So along with our rep, that will be keeping us informed of what's going on there. So if there's some action that takes place or something where I think we need to do something like that, whether it's another letter, I can quickly call all of you, send an email, and we'll take it from there.
Linda, Kathy, when's our next newsletter going out?
Yeah, it goes out the middle of the month, next week.
Should we include something to the residents, some information about this and addresses that they could write to?
I am considering it. I may even do a CTY call. I'm waiting to see if this gets to the floor. What I'm really hoping is that it won't, because then it won't matter.
I understand.
The timing is such that if it does come to the floor, whether it does or
It
doesn't
will
come to
already
the floor
pass.
this week, anything after this week, they'll be out of session until
Got it.
January after this week, so it won't really make much difference.
Okay, thank you.
We go down there and have a whole list of those.
That's a pretty nice.
Well, we hope it doesn't make the floor, and we hope they adjourn very quickly. That is my ultimate hope. Just that they just adjourn, go home. Any other comments or questions on that? Any comments or concerns about the other items on the legislative list? Or anything that they think that we've overlooked? And if you want to think about it the next day, I mean, you got to get back to me for relatively quickly, but like I said, you can email them, you can email them. You have a list of their contact information. Okay. CENTCOM update and Glenview dispatch fee discussion. The issue of CENTCOM, I last reported that we were waiting for a special meeting to be called. Now we know that we will have a special meeting. Jim Rock and I will be in attendance. We expect to leave that meeting with some definitive answers. However, from some other research and other meetings I've had with Grays Lake, with both our fire chiefs that serve our community, with the police chief, we've come to some, tentative conclusions. At this time, it doesn't look like we'll be able to reroute our 911 calls directly to Glenview the way that we had hoped to. However, that being said, there is a strong movement that's picking up pace at the Lake County level, and our Round Lake Fire Chief serves on that board as well. And that is to get all of us on the same CAD system so that we would all be able to see and hear what each other is doing. So whether it's Grays Lake Fire, who now dispatches out of Foxconn and Fox Lake, or it's CENTCOM, or it's Glenview Dispatch, you don't have to keep transferring the calls. Everybody can see and hear what is going on. So that is a more desirable goal, but it's not going to happen overnight. But I talked to Mike Ellis, the manager of Grays Lake. He's going to talk to Brett Reynolds, the director of Glenview Dispatch, to start attending those meetings on that project, as well as Foxconn is attending. So we're going to move in that direction. I did get Chief Mapplethorpe to acknowledge to me in this one meeting that he does think it's feasible that the Village of Hainesville could now ask for a portion of our 911 surcharge money to be used to pay for the dispatching that Glenview does for us with our police, which would actually be paid through Grays Lake. Now, I expect to leave that special meeting with answers that we need to negotiate whatever our ultimate dispatch fee agreement will be with Grays Lake. However, I just want to remind the board, I have periodically, I talked to Trustee Daly, the Chair of Finance, about this prior to this meeting. I want to remind you that since May, since this year's new budget, we have not been paying anyone for dispatching. We budgeted for it, the money's in the bank, we have paid no one. There is no bill that we pay currently to CENTCOM other than our 911 surcharge money. Grays Lake agreed to float us on dispatching the first year, and we said that we felt that we would be able to work out everything with CENTCOM in order to enter in some type of agreement with dispatch fees that would somehow grow slowly over the few years. Now, Grays Lake has been patiently waiting and paying an extra $5,000 a month to Glenview to carry our dispatching, and we have not been able to come to them with an answer. And of course, our initial answer was Jim Rock cautioned us on getting into an agreement, making a financial commitment when we weren't clear on our commitment was to CENTCOM, such as if certain events occur, what would our financial obligation be? That being said, even if we don't have all those answers worked out immediately, as long as we get the answers we need with CENTCOM of what we owe them, what we don't owe them, then we're going to have to start having the finance committee, whether it's Jerry, myself, and Jim Rock to start, talking with Grays Lake and saying, we owe you some amount of money. What amount of money is from May up till now for the dispatching? And then what are we going to pay you monthly through the rest of the year? And then we can try to negotiate what our agreement would be for the following years. Now, one of the ideas that was entertained, and I think everybody that I've mentioned it to has been very excited about it, was our public works facility next door has a tremendous amount of space. We've been talking with the Grays Lake Police Department about using part of that space to put in cars that they impound. Currently, cars that are impounded are put in the Grays Lake Public Works yard. It's not enclosed, the cars get vandalized. They would secure them here in a building where they would be safe. It would be used to store some of their other equipment, their bike patrol equipment. They would spend the money to make sure that it's secure and put in the fencing and whatever alterations they need to secure that area. So the question is, what would the value be on that as far as rent? We would charge them rent, but maybe that's a trade-off on a dispatch fee. So I expect that when we come back from the special meeting, we are going to start wanting to work very feverishly on that. The pace is going to pick up, and that will be an issue for the December meeting, and probably will some of it carry over easily into the January, February meeting until it's all done. Georgianne, you had raised the question about attending this special meeting at CENTCOM. It certainly wouldn't hurt. I mean, anybody that's free to be there, please be there. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, I think it's good to at least show the executive board and the Jets board that the board, you know, is interested. We want to get this resolved.
Have they given any indication at the special meeting that they have the answers that we're looking for?
I would say that in the meeting I